Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And this MeToo movement is continue to garner movement. And I guess now DJ Akademiks is the next to be accused of the MeToo movement. He has gotten caught in that web, and the storyline seems awfully goofy. He had a young lady that he's supposedly been knowing for a couple years. He did an interview that I saw where he said that he kept $1 million in cash in a safe at his house, and sometimes he'd give his mom $20,000, $30,000, but he kept $1 million in cash. I didn't even know DJ Akademiks was making that kind of money. He's not somebody I necessarily follow. I look at a little bit of his stuff. I actually think he's just a little fat, nerdy guy that's in this social media space. I know he's friends with Vlad TV and a few other people, but I didn't know he was monetizing and making that kind of money to have $1 million in cash at his house. And then, first of all, that's stupid. Why would you have $1 million at your house versus a bank or anything like that? And then why would you, and even furthermore, why would you go on social media and tell people you have $1 million at your house, which lets you know that he does not have an ounce of street sense. And women are much smarter than men. We think that we are the pimps and the players, and we run and can run game on women, but women are way more coy. Just when you think you're running game on a woman, she's running game on you 4 times faster and slicker. Women are like cats and men are like dogs. And that's an old saying. I've been around the block. But we have to stop looking at these individuals that have garnered some popularity. And these young folks need to stop listening and worshiping these folks, because a bunch of them are goofballs. And I'm doing this video because I wanted to express how goofy that I think DJ Akademiks is. So suppose he had $1 million in his house. Evidently, he must have let this young lady know that he had $1 million, because he said over time she stole over $500,000 to $600,000 out of his safe. I guess there was a time period where he was not going into his safe and checking and counting his money. He said at one point he got a new counter and just counter to count his money, and he decided to count it, and he was down to like 460 grand. I mean, it sounds so goofy and stupid. And I'm a middle-aged black man. Just his whole storyline sounds like he's 12 years old. So the girl stole $500,000 previously. He lets this young lady back into his life. They're at his house, they were at a party or doing something, and ended up back at his house, and I guess they were drunk, and he claims that she claims, and he claims that 2 of his friends were having sex with the young lady, and he was not there. He was already asleep in the house, but he noticed it when he looked back at his cameras the next day. And he went on to let the young lady know that, and he was bashing her about having sex with these 2 guys, unprotected and all of this kind of stuff. And she comes back and claims that not only did the 2 guys have sex with her, but she woke up and DJ Akademiks was on top of her. All of it sounds like a bunch of high school foolishness. And that the young lady, and she's been on social media claiming that, giving a rebuttal to DJ Akademiks that was, I guess, trying to make her look bad. And she said that she's been knowing him for 2 years. This is not a new relationship. But the real question for a man that's middle-aged and has 2 daughters, sister, did she go to the hospital and get a rape kit and file charges against him? Or is this just a back and forth on social media? A he say, she say. But in today's time, it's not even about having criminal charges. It's about character assassination. And once you get labeled as a rapist or a child predator or a harasser, uh, a woman beater, those labels stay with you forever. I mean, just ask Russell Simmons, Bill Cosby. Puffy's going through it now. Russell Simmons, the narrative that they have today has almost erased all of the good things that they supposedly have done in the past in their particular area of business or industry. People put Russell and Puffy and them on this pedestal at one time, and now they're castigated like they're the devil. And DJ Akademiks has spoken about all of these folks, and I don't know if he knows them or doesn't know them or how he is part of the industry, but now he's in the web. And this back and forth that he has going on with this young lady, neither one of their stories make any sense. But I think the one common bond between those two is that they did have or do have some kind of relationship that's been ongoing, and it's probably been flirtatious and sexual in some kind of capacity. And maybe his two friends did do this to the young lady and he got jealous about it. And why she didn't file charges or haven't filed charges on those three guys, including Akademiks, is peculiar to me. Why would you let a woman back into your home who stole over $500,000 in cash from you and you're aware of it? Why didn't you go to the police? They both are tempering on a scenario where not getting the police involved with a rape and or theft of $500,000 can turn into a debacle, and somebody could end up seriously hurt, whether it's their friends or whether he does it to her or she does it to him. So you got this $500,000 worth of theft, you got this sexual misconduct that went on against her by Akademiks and his friends, and none of them have the police involved. And they're just going back on social media. I'm saying to all the listeners, this is a childish, silly, juvenile scenario. Many of these entertainers and athletes, Dwight Howards, even though they can play a sport, they still can be goofy and not understand and have common sense about the world. Tiger Woods was a victim of that. I think Tiger's one of the greatest golfers of all time. But when it comes to common sense and how applicable he applied that to his life, he had very little sense whatsoever, almost as a teenager. And DJ Akademiks, I don't know how old he is. I'm assuming he's in his 30s or late 30s. He's coming across as someone whose intellectual, philosophical maturity growth got stifled as a teenager because this is silly. And now he's going to miss out. He's being MeToo'd. He's being lambasted through the media over poor decision making. This is a repeated behavior that's happening with many of our black entertainers for some reason. I don't know who's pushing the narrative and the button, but a lot of these guys are getting caught in this web. I think Dwight Howard's a goofball. He can play basketball, but he was goofy. I even thought Kobe Bryant, who was a great basketball player, had a goofiness. He had a Tiger Woods kind of personality about him. Didn't seem like he's very streetwise. Whereas an Allen Iverson, who was a great basketball player, he seemed to be a very down-to-earth and common sense and streetwise guy. Michael Jordan seemed like he had a certain je ne sais quoi. Magic Johnson. There are very few of these entertainers and athletes. Denzel Washington carries himself like he can parody both common sense, a certain level of maturity, and be great at his skill set. But a lot of these guys are just talented in one thing. I thought Puffy was goofy. It doesn't surprise me. I thought Russell Simmons was an oddball. So some of the situations with these guys, you always heard the old saying, sometimes it's not best to ever meet your heroes because when you meet them, they'll disappoint you. because many of these people are just regular people and they have a certain goofiness to them. And this whole scenario with Akademiks is just completely goofy. And it could lead to some criminal charges uh, in this sexual misconduct scenario. The courts are going to sway more so with the woman than with him if he thinks his defense is she stole $500,000 from him a year ago or 2 years ago. That's his defense. That's not going to work. I mean, you see what happened to Jonathan Majors. He was literally running away from his girlfriend with 1,000 cameras in New York City, and they still convicted him. She was the aggressor, and he was not. And they still convicted him. And so you get caught up in these courtrooms and the circus that goes on there, and think you're going to be treated with respect, and the facts of the case are going to be the thing that will vindicate you from a situation. That's not how it works. The law is not a science, it's a philosophy. And your case is only as good as your lawyer presents it, not so much of the evidence that you present. Just ask Jonathan Majors. His whole scenario was on camera, and he still got convicted and lost his career. The man's going to miss out on about $500 million over the span of between his contract with Marvel and the residuals and all of that. It was a huge payday. They would have lasted forever, and even into his next of kin and his children and all that kind of thing. All that's gone. And DJ Akademiks was doing very well on the social media space and on YouTube. And now this goofiness that he has with this young lady. And many times you have the guy that has everything to lose, and you have the woman who nobody knows, she has nothing to lose. So the Akademiks, if he had $1 million in cash at his house and he was doing so well and all that, well, all that's going to change. And this young lady, if she doesn't have anything, she'll continue to move on with her life and have nothing. Nobody, I don't even know her name, and it's not even worthy to mention her name. She'll move on, and a year from now, nobody even remember her. It's no different than the Tupac accused rape situation. Nobody even remembers that young lady from the 90s that accused Tupac and his friends of rape. And it sounds very similar to what DJ Akademiks situation is. The Ayana, or whatever that young lady said, that she was with Tupac. Tupac left the room, and his friends did X, Y, and Z. And then she accused him of rape. But she went to the hospital the very same day or the next day. And in this Akademiks thing, she's saying that 2 of his friends had sex with her, and then she woke up and he was on top of her, and it's been filmed, and Akademiks could see that the 2 guys had sex with her. But did he turn the cameras off when he had sex with her? There's a video coverage of him doing it. So all of it is messy and silly, and they need to grow up. But DJ Akademiks has been Me Too. He's all a hot topic now. It's not as hot as the Puffy situation or the TD Jake situation, because he's not that big of a name. But follow it. Let's stay close and see how Akademiks comes out of it. But a lot of these guys that are on these YouTube spaces, if you really pay attention to them, they're goofy. And don't take their word to heart on everything that they say and do. Him saying on social media that he's got $1 million at his house in a safe is dumb. It's stupid. And then to allow the lady to steal $500,000 of it and him not know it for 6 months is even more stupid. So it doesn't surprise me that he's in this predicament. And we need to manifest our truth in the right direction. Leave a positive, thought-provoking, philosophical, adult, mature reality. And these fallacies and fantasies that are taking place are not real, and it will send you down the wrong road.